What is going on, everybody? It's Cam Jam bringing you another mock draft for this upcoming NFL draft for the 2020 season. Um, it's just now getting past the combine. Today's Wednesday, so I guess the combine's been over for a couple days now. But it's my first draft since the combine has gotten over, and there's a lot of reports going on about pretty much every player that I have in this mock draft and every team that's picking in this first round. So let's go ahead and get straight on into it. First pick in the 2020 NFL draft. I still have it as Joe Burrow. Had it as Joe Burrow a month ago. I'm going to have it as Joe Burrow until he gets drafted number one. There's really no reason to believe that it won't be Burrow to the Bengals unless someone like the Dolphins or the Chargers or even maybe the Panthers trades up to get Joe Burrow. I don't really see it any other way. I think Joe Burrow is the number one pick. Can't really tell me otherwise. There's reports that it's not a done deal, but to me it's a done deal. Burrow to the Bengals. The number two pick, I have the Washington Redskins taking Tua Tagovailoa, the quarterback out of Alabama. And I know this is a little bit controversial. I don't know if Redskins fans would love this, but hear me out. There have been reports all through the combine that Tua, not only did he have a great physical, but Ron Rivera, there's a report, told Tua Tagovailoa that he wants to draft him. Take that however you want it. There's a report that Ron Rivera, not even a report, Ron Rivera came on national television on NFL Network and said, I'm going to give the quarterback job to whoever earns the position. And he also said that defensively, his philosophy is to build his defense from the middle up, meaning he wants to build his tackles, his middle linebacker, and his safety position first. Now, Washington doesn't really have much to offer from the safety, D-tackle, or middle linebacker position. I think their middle linebacker is Cole Holcomb, I think is his name. He was their leading tackler last season, so I guess they have him for now. But it all kind of adds up to saying that Washington and Ron Rivera want to take Tua as their quarterback, and they could trade Dwayne Haskins for a top 10 pick either this year or next year. There's lots of teams still in this top 10 who could be looking at quarterbacks for either, again, this year or next year. You got Jacksonville, you got Cleveland, you got Miami, you got LA, you got Detroit. There's lots of teams, and I know I brought up Cleveland. I just want to bring up Cleveland because they're possibly looking. I'm not going to say that. That's a whole different animal to talk about. But it just all adds up to me to being Tua, the number two pick for the Redskins, and Chase Young falling. And I have him even falling past the number three pick, which for me, it's still Isaiah Simmons to the Lions. I believe, Jeff Okudah in my last mock draft, but Isaiah Simmons came out and had an amazing combine performance at the linebacker position, and he's a speedster. He's perfect for today's NFL with the athletic quarterbacks that are everywhere in the NFL. He's fast, he's rangy, he's got great size, he can rush the passer as well. I think he's perfect for Matt Patricia's defense. I think he's perfect for what Matt Patricia wants to build defensively, and Detroit already has their main pass rusher in Trey Flowers, so I don't know if they're going to be looking for a pass rusher like Chase Young. So to me, that adds up to being Isaiah Simmons, the number three pick. With the number four pick, the Giants, they fill out their need at tackle with Tristan Wirfs, the tackle out of Iowa. I had them taking Isaiah Simmons last mock draft, but obviously with Simmons gone to Detroit, they need to finish building up their offensive line. They drafted Will Hernandez last year. They brought in Nate Solder, which that wasn't really a great move, but if Nate Solder is your worst piece on your offensive line, you're doing some good things. Tristan Wirfs at the right tackle position to me is what would be best for him. He's athletic. He can move very well. He's got great hand placement. He's got great feet. I think the Giants are in a really great spot because no matter what happens above them, they're getting a guy that's going to come in day one as a starter and be at a position of need for them. So Tristan Wirfs to me seems perfect for New York. Getting into the Miami Dolphins with their first of 3 first-round draft picks, I have them taking Jordan Love, the quarterback out of Utah State. There's a chance that they could pass on him here and get him later, or possibly trade up to get him later, but I wouldn't take the chance if I was Miami. Again, everything about Jordan Love coming out of the combine was very positive for him. He's got a great arm. He's not as athletic, I think, as Justin Herbert is. I think Justin Herbert's probably the more athletic of the quarterbacks I have going in the first round. But Jordan Love is still athletic enough. He's got a great arm. He's got decent NFL size in terms of his height and his weight. But the real question is going to be about his last year statistics at Utah State. And everyone knows why he kind of did that poorly. I mean, he lost 9 of the other 10 starters on the offense, lost his coach, offensive coordinator, quarterback's coach. Everything went wrong for Jordan Love, and he still had an okay season. So I think, to me, it's the perfect fit for Miami as well, because they could still bring in a veteran quarterback and have him be the guy for now, and then Jordan Love will be ready to take over next year. And that's perfect for Miami, because they'll still possibly get a top 10 pick next year as well to, whatever wide receiver emerges next year or whatever. So to me, it's perfect for Miami, and it's perfect for the Chargers at the number 6 pick, because I think they're getting the guy that they want anyway in Justin Herbert. Herbert's the guy I had going to them in the last mock draft as well. There's not really much I can tell you about Herbert that you don't really already know. He's 6'6", he's about 230, 240. He can throw a great deep ball. He's been a top 10 pick for the past 2 seasons. And it's perfect for LA, because whether they start him, whether they bench him at first, they've got their quarterback, because they could start Tyrod Taylor and have Justin Herbert learn under him, or they could start Herbert and have him develop right away. So it's perfect for LA. They get the guy they want anyway. Moving on to the number 7 pick with the Panthers, they're going to be the team I have taking Chase Young, the defensive end out of Ohio State. If this does happen on draft day, it's going to be one of the biggest falls I think we have seen since, Aaron Rodgers fell, and obviously Aaron Rodgers fell to the 20s, and I only have Chase Young falling to 7. But like I said, Chase Young didn't participate in the combine. Not that it hurts him, but it did no help for him. There was nothing really that we heard out of interview rooms raving about Chase Young. There's nothing that we didn't hear any great positive news from Chase Young last weekend, and not as much as we heard about every single other prospect. It seemed got great reviews from their interviews. That's not to say that Chase Young isn't a great player. Chase Young going to Carolina is going to give them one of the best young edge rushing duos with him and Brian Burns that we've seen in a while. So it's perfect for Carolina. They get possibly a top 3 player in the draft, possibly the number 1 player in the draft. But I have him falling solely off what happened in the combine. And yeah, that's about it. With the Cardinals at the number 8 pick, even though they have a need at the tackle position, I have them taking speedster Henry Ruggs III, the wide receiver out of Alabama. He pretty much lived up to expectations at the combine. He was seen as the fastest guy in the draft, and he proved it. Running a 4.27 40. There's not really much else to say about Henry Ruggs. He's got good enough hands to catch at the NFL level. He's possibly going to be a top 10 player in the NFL in terms of speed already. Even top 5, you could say. And that gives them, it gives Kyler Murray that perfect third guy, because they've got Christian Kirk and they've got Larry Fitzgerald. Now having Henry Ruggs, assuming that Larry Fitzgerald comes back, they've got Henry Ruggs, that third guy. And again, I know they have to build at the offensive line, but there's a lot of offensive line, especially tackle talent, I believe, in this draft, that they could get in the second round. And there's a lot of offensive linemen hitting free agency this year. So I think it works well for them. And, if it doesn't work, if they still are picking in the top 10 next year as well, there's a guaranteed top 10 offensive tackle talent next year probably. So why not take the fastest player in this draft at the wide receiver position and have him play with Kyler Murray? It's a pretty good option to me. With the number 9 pick, I have the Jacksonville Jaguars taking Jeff Okudah, the cornerback out of Ohio State. I had this mock draft made up about 2 days ago, and I did not see the Jacksonville Jaguars. We know that they traded away Jalen Ramsey in the middle of the season. I did not see them at all trading away A.J. Bouye. So now that they've done that, it makes this pick even better because now they actually have a corner. I don't know another corner in Jacksonville. I don't even know any other corners in Jacksonville. So Jeff Okudah seems like the only pick here to be made. It's just a perfect fit for me as well. I mean, Jeff Okudah is a guy who can play either man or zone. He's got good size. He ran a 4.48 in the 40-yard dash. And Jacksonville doesn't have another cornerback that I can name, so it's perfect for me. With the number 10 pick, I have the Cleveland Browns taking Andrew Thomas, the tackle out of Georgia. I could also see them taking Mekhi Becton, but I think Andrew Thomas gives them a little bit more fluidity with what they could do with him, either the left or right side. I think Mekhi Becton's going to be solely a left tackle in the NFL, but Andrew Thomas gives them a little bit more flexibility going either left or right side. Cleveland needs offensive line. Not only do they need better players, they just need a lot more talent on the offensive line, and Andrew Thomas gives them that day one. Alrighty, so now that we're out of the top 10 in the draft here, I'm going to try to get through these prospects and these draft picks as quickly as possible. I'll spend a little bit of time on them, but I'm going to try to make this video as short as possible so that, you're not here for 45 minutes. So with the number 11 pick, I have the Jets taking Mekhi Becton, the tackle out of Louisville. Sam Darnold needs a guy to keep him upright and keep him healthy throughout his career, really. So Mekhi Becton, he is 340 plus pounds and he ran a 5.1 40. I think we all knew he was athletic coming out of Louisville, but that 40-yard dash he had really solidified him as possibly even a top 10 talent. Again, I could see him going to Cleveland. I could see him going as high as number 4 to the Giants, but I have him. If the Jets are able to get him, they also have a need at wide receiver, but Mekhi Becton seems like a perfect pick here for me as the tackle of the future for New York. With the number 12 pick, I have the Las Vegas Raiders taking CeeDee Lamb, the wide receiver out of Oklahoma. He ran a 4.5 40, which to me, I saw him running a little bit faster in the 4.46 range, but 4.5 is nothing to scoff at. He's got great hands. He's got great run after the catch ability. And he gives Derek Carr, whoever the quarterback is in Las Vegas, whether it's Derek Carr, whether it's Tom Brady, whether it's someone else that possibly Las Vegas drafts, CeeDee Lamb gives them their actual number 1 wide receiver, not only for now but the future. With the 13 pick, I have the Indianapolis Colts taking Jerry Jeudy, the wide receiver out of Alabama. We've all heard that Jeudy is the best route runner in the draft, but he backed that up at the combine with a 4.46 40. So he had a great combine as well. He's gonna come in as a number 1 wide receiver. And him and T.Y. Hilton, whoever the quarterback is in Indianapolis, him and T.Y. Hilton together give that offense 2 great options, as well as having Marlon Mack and Nyheim Hines out of the backfield. So that's a perfect pick for me. With the number 14 pick, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking Grant Delpit, the safety out of LSU. Tampa Bay, like many other teams, needs a lot of talent in their secondary, and they mostly need it in the back end. They haven't had a great safety for a while. They've got 2 okay corners. They've got Jamel Dean. They've got Sean Murphy-Bunting. They just don't really have a lot of safety talent, and that kind of exposed them to a lot of deep passes last season. So Grant Delpit, he's 6'3", he's got great range, he's got great speed, he can jump very well. So to me, that's a great pick for Tampa Bay. With the number 15 pick, I have the Denver Broncos taking Justin Jefferson, the wide receiver out of LSU. Before I had them taking T. Higgins, but we didn't really hear a lot about T. Higgins during the draft. Justin Jefferson had one of the better combine performances out of the wide receiver position. He ran a 4.44 40 at, he was seen as more of a slot guy, but with that 40-yard dash that he had, he proved that he could be not just a slot receiver, but also a outside guy as well, which is what Drew Lock is going to need going forward. With the number 16 pick, I have the Atlanta Falcons taking A.J. Epinesa, the edge rusher out of Iowa. He's probably the safest pick out of any of the edge rushers in this draft. He's going to be a guy who's going to get between 9 to 12 sacks throughout his career, but he's never going to be that guy, at least in my opinion, that explodes for an 18-plus sack season. Maybe he doesn't, maybe he does not, but that's what you're drafting him for, is 8 to 10 sacks a year. Atlanta has been really taking risks at the edge rusher position, bringing guys like Vic Beasley, Takk McKinley. They've been taking a lot of risks the past couple of years. They really need to draft a safe guy at this edge position because taking the risks has not worked the past few years. They just need to get their safe guy and a guy that they really, truly believe in. With the number 17 pick, I have the Dallas Cowboys taking Derrick Brown, the defensive tackle out of Auburn. You've heard me say it before about Derrick Brown. I think that he brings a certain combination of both speed, size, and power to the defensive tackle position. He brings a rare combination that we haven't seen out of a prospect in a while, and he kind of fits that mold. I'm not going to say that he's Aaron Donald, but he kind of fits that mold of an Aaron Donald type player. I believe he's a little bit bigger than Aaron Donald. I could be completely wrong about that. But their games I kind of get reminded of Aaron Donald when I see Derrick Brown. But nonetheless, Dallas is in a position where they need to take the best player available. They were top 10 in pretty much every statistical category, both offensively and defensively. So they just need to wash last season. Just wash that away, take the best player available, and run it back, really, is what I think they need to do. With the number 18 pick, I have the Miami Dolphins taking Javon Kinlaw, another defensive tackle, this time out of South Carolina. Miami has Christian Wilkins, but I think they need to just, again, take the best player available. Even with Christian Wilkins, bringing in Javon Kinlaw gives them a great tandem at the defensive tackle position, and something they can build their defense around from a both pass rushing and run stuffing standpoint. So Javon Kinlaw is the pick for me to Miami. With the number 19 pick, I have the Las Vegas Raiders taking Christian Fulton, the cornerback out of LSU. Much like Tampa Bay, Las Vegas needs to get more talent in their secondary, but unlike Tampa Bay, they need to focus on the corner position instead of the safety position. Las Vegas has a couple pieces when it comes to corner, but they really need that number one guy who has been playing this way for a while. He's been playing against number one receivers. He's been playing even inside some of his career. But wherever they have to play him, I think he's going to succeed for Las Vegas. With the number 20 pick, I have the Jacksonville Jaguars taking Kenneth Murray, the linebacker out of Oklahoma. Kenneth Murray ran, I believe, a 4.7 at the combine, he ran a 4.6, I believe. Wasn't awful, but it's great. It's good enough to play in today's NFL. He's going to be seen more as a run stuffing / pass rushing and maybe play a little bit in space kind of linebacker. But Jacksonville really needs to get that second linebacker that can play next to Myles Jack. They lost Telvin Smith. I really don't know what's going on with Telvin Smith right now, but they lost him last year. So they just need to find his replacement at this point. With the number 21 pick, I have the Philadelphia Eagles taking T. Higgins, the wide receiver out of Clemson. At this point, he's the best wide receiver on the board to me, and Philadelphia just needs to bring in wide receiver talent. And T. Higgins brings a lot of talent to the wide receiver position. So bring him in, give him, he doesn't even have to be Carson Wentz's number one option. And I'll go as far to say as T. Higgins will have no chance to be Carson Wentz's number one option as long as Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert are in town. There's really no chance for that. But, bring him in. He can be an outside guy, a guy who can win 50-50 balls, and be a consistent target for Carson Wentz. With the number 22 pick, I have the Buffalo Bills taking another wide receiver. This time I have it being Brandon Ayuk out of Arizona State. He's a guy who's going to be a consistent deep threat for Buffalo. He's big. He can win contested catches. He ran a decent 40 at the combine. I believe he's about 6 foot, 6'1". Again, I could be completely wrong about that. I've got a lot of numbers about a lot of these prospects going through my head. But he's a solid talent. He gives Josh Allen a guy who can be a consistent one-on-one target for years to come. For the New England Patriots, I have them taking Jedrick Wills, the offensive tackle out of Alabama. Jedrick Wills, kind of like Andrew Thomas, gives New England a lot of options because they could play him at left tackle, which Isaiah Wynn is at right now, but there's a possibility they could think about moving Wynn to guard, which, again, that may have already happened. There's a lot of things going through my head right now. But whatever ends up happening, Jedrick Wills probably will be playing at right tackle because that's what he played mostly through his career at Alabama. But he also was playing with a left-handed quarterback, so he still technically was playing the blind side protector. But either way, having a right tackle who's a great pass protector doesn't hurt at all. So Jedrick Wills is a great pick to me. I toyed with the thought of Austin Jackson here, the athletic offensive lineman from USC, but I think Jedrick Wills is a little bit more ready to be, thrown into the fire as a starter his year one, whereas Austin Jackson will be a little bit more of a developmental prospect. I couldn't say that word for a second. With the number 24 pick, I have the New Orleans Saints taking C.J. Henderson, the cornerback out of Florida. C.J. Henderson ran a great 40 time during the combine. He's a guy who he's very good at getting after the ball when it's in the air, whether he's knocking it to the ground or whether he's intercepting it. I believe he only had one interception last season. There's stats on the page, but I'm not looking at them right now, so I don't exactly remember. But anyways, for New Orleans, they again need corner talent. They have Marshawn Lattimore, they have Eli Apple, but they didn't really have a great season last year. Marshawn Lattimore kind of took a step back from where he was his rookie season, and Eli Apple has never really been a great NFL player at the corner position. So C.J. Henderson gives them a guy who can be a rangy defender either in zone or man and show his stuff. With the number 25 pick, I have the Minnesota Vikings taking Trayvon Diggs, the cornerback out of Alabama. Minnesota needs a number one corner because Xavier Rhodes fell off the map last year. I don't know what happened to Xavier Rhodes. He went from an elite corner, possibly top 5, top 10 corner, to being a guy who gets memed every single game, it seemed like. So they need to bring in a guy who, Trayvon Diggs he was a senior last year for Alabama, so he knows what it's like to, be the number one guy for multiple years. And he was really the guy, not only was he a senior, but he was the guy in that secondary throughout the season because they were hearing throughout the season, how bad Alabama's defense was going to be because they lost so much talent. But he was consistently there for that team, and he consistently shut down the number one receiver for other opposing teams. So Trayvon Diggs to Minnesota, pair him back up with his brother, and I'm sure they'll have great battles in practice. With the number 26 pick, I have the Miami Dolphins taking K'Lavon Chaisson, the edge rusher out of LSU. K'Lavon's kind of an odd prospect to me because he hasn't been playing football for a long time. He came to LSU. I told you in my last video, K'Lavon had only been playing since his senior season. I don't even think that's true. I read a report that K'Lavon Chaisson came to an LSU training camp as a bet with his friend and then ended up getting a scholarship. So he's got a lot of talent. You don't just get a scholarship to LSU from a bet and then don't have talent. Like, he's got a lot of talent. He's got a lot of speed. He's got a lot of talent. But if he's able to mold that talent and speed and playmaking ability from the edge rusher spot, if he's able to mold that into a great career in the NFL, then the sky's the limit for him. But I just don't know for sure if it's going to take a while for him to develop. And it might not be with Miami by the time he gets fully developed. It might be with Miami. But he has the chance to be a really good edge rusher in the league. I think at this position where Miami is, they just need to take a guy that they can develop for a couple of years and fully unleash him when they think he's ready for the NFL. So K'Lavon Chaisson, the number 26, to the Dolphins. With the number 27 pick, I have the Seattle Seahawks taking the guy I was talking about just a few picks ago, Austin Jackson, the tackle / I'm going to say possibly guard out of USC. He's really athletic. He's got an athletic build. I could really see Seattle moving him to guard, but he could possibly have to flip-flop between guard and tackle due to the fact that Seattle both has a lot of injuries that they go through on the offensive line, and they don't have any talent on the offensive line. We don't know what's going on with Dwayne Brown in terms of whether he's going to be there for any time after this year. We don't know what they're going to do with Jermaine Ifedi at the right tackle position. And we don't really know what they're doing with either of their guards. We don't really know what Seattle's doing with their offensive line, but they just need more talent. And Austin Jackson both gives them talent. Not only does he give them talent, but he gives them athleticism, and he gives them the ability to play him at either guard or tackle, which would be perfect for them. With the number 28 pick, I have the Baltimore Ravens taking Yetur Gross-Matos, the edge rusher out of Penn State. This is another guy kind of like AJ Epinesa that's a little bit of a safer pick. You know, Yetur Gross-Matos he produces, but he doesn't do it in a way that seems like he's dominant. I don't really mean to say that he can't be a dominant player, but I just mean that he doesn't have one trait to his game that really sets him apart from everyone else. He doesn't have blazing speed. He doesn't have dominating power. He doesn't have amazing technique, but he just gets his job done. And Baltimore is in need of a guy who can get the job done from the outside linebacker / DN position. Not only that, but also bring down the runner in the running back game, in the running game, I should say. But Yetur Gross-Matos, that's really their only need is outside linebacker / DN depth to get after the quarterback. They don't, especially if they get rid of Matt Judon, which I don't see why they would do that, but if they do, they need a guy to replace him. And Yetur Gross-Matos, should be the guy for them going forward. Tennessee Titans with the number 29 pick. I have them taking Zach Bond, the outside linebacker from Wisconsin. They just need more linebacking depth. Their D-line is intact for now. Their corners, they have a pretty underrated, to me, cornerback group, and their safeties are pretty solid as well. Their offensive line is pretty stout. Their running back, obviously, if they bring back Derrick Henry, they have a top 3 running back. And the other possible pick I could see them making is Cole Kmet, the tight end from Notre Dame. But Zach Bond, to me, makes sense. They just need another linebacker. I don't really have a lot to say about this pick. Tennessee needs a linebacker. Zach Bond is available. Take him. With the number 30 pick, I have the Green Bay Packers actually taking Cole Kmet, tight end out of Notre Dame. This is a pick. I had Cole Kmet as a mid to late second round pick just because I didn't really see him. When you watch Cole Kmet highlights, you don't really see a lot. You see seam routes that just seem slow. Like, when you watch him, you just see a slow guy. And to me, I had him mid to second round when I evaluated him. But after his combine, he ran a 4.7 40, and he jumped pretty well as well. To me, now he's a first-round pick, and Green Bay has not had a good tight end for Aaron Rodgers for, I don't know. I mean, they brought in Mercedes Lewis to be the number one tight end because Jimmy Graham wasn't doing his job very well. And I really don't know who the tight end has been in Green Bay that Aaron Rodgers has had a good connection with really his whole career. So bringing Cole Kmet, Aaron Rodgers has an offense full of talent around him, and who knows, Cole Kmet could be the next top 5 tight end in the league. San Francisco, I have them taking Jeff Gladney, the cornerback out of TCU. I haven't done a lot of, watching for Jeff Gladney, but I know he's kind of a guy who can come in. He's fast. He can play either inside or outside, opposite from Richard Sherman for this next year or two while Sherman is still there. Again, I haven't watched him a lot, so I don't know a lot about him, but I know he's a solid corner. He can run well, he can jump decently, and he plays the ball pretty well as well. So bring him into San Francisco, let him learn under Richard Sherman, and go from there. With the number 32 pick, this is one that really, really, really excites me. I have the Kansas City Chiefs taking Jonathan Taylor, the running back out of Wisconsin. Jonathan Taylor, I don't know what it is, but Jonathan Taylor has gotten literally no love from anyone in both the combine, leading up to the combine, throughout the combine, even after the combine. Jonathan Taylor is getting no love. He's been the best running back in college for the past 2 or 3 years, probably. He ran a 4.39 40, and he proved he could catch as well throughout. I mean, he wasn't looked at as a receiving threat because he was running the ball 300 plus times a season. So I don't get why Jonathan Taylor is so underrated, but I have him as the best running back in the draft. A lot of people are talking about, Cam Akers or Clyde Edwards-Helaire or DeAndre Swift. I have it as Jonathan Taylor, and this makes this Kansas City offense so lethal and so scary because that's the one position on this offense they didn't really... I mean, they have Damian Williams, they had LaShawn McCoy, but Jonathan Taylor is a different beast. He ran a 4.39 40, and you give Kansas City not that they really need to run the ball or much less want to, but now they have the ability to do it with a home run hitter. That just makes their offense so scary because now when the defense is loading up to stop Tyreek Hill and stop Travis Kelce and stop Demarcus Robinson or stop, if he comes back, Sammy Watkins or whatever, he can be that fifth option. Jonathan Taylor being that fourth or fifth option, both in the running or passing game, makes Kansas City the scariest offense I think I would have ever seen in my whole entire life. So that's going to do it for me. 2020 Mock Draft 2.0. Again, having Chase Young fall to the number 7 pick, I have 4 quarterbacks going in the top 6 picks, and it's a draft filled with wide receiver, offensive tackle, and cornerback talent. So if you like the video, if you like this mock draft from me, go ahead and hit the like button. If you hated it, make sure you tell me why in the comment section, and I'll try to do better next time, I guess. But again, I hope you guys like the video. Make sure you subscribe if you want to see more videos like this from me in the future. I'll probably be trying to put out 1 or 2 more mock drafts before the actual draft happens. It's kind of hard to make one every week or so because there's so many reports that come out. There's so much film you got to watch on each of these guys. But now that the combine has happened, there's a better way to evaluate a lot of these guys. So yeah, if you guys like the video, make sure you hit the like button. If you didn't like the video, make sure you hit the dislike button. I know I've been slurring my words after this video because I'm trying to get it out as fast as possible. But hope you guys could have bared with me throughout this video. And yeah, that's gonna do it for me. I hope that you guys have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you guys next time. See you later.